Greetings, my friend. We are all interested in the future, for that is where you and I are going to spend the rest of our lives. You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
10 minutes left. Yeah, but there's still some time. It's not the final score. We need more than the numbers we're given. Show us you live and breathe the game. You're more than a name. That's what we came for. We can bring you more than the score. Every story. Let's take this thing off of the field into the real world, away from the numbers,
Hello and welcome to episode 262 of the AFTN podcast. I am Special Agent of the Royal Sam Allardyce Appreciation Society, Joe DC. I am joined by AFTN writer, he only gets haircuts on Thursdays, Nicholas Ruprecht.
That's true. It's cheap Thursdays.
Across from him, the voice of TSS Rovers and UBC Soccer. He always goes in with 2 feet, it's Gideon Hill.
That is true. Record for red cards in Monday Night Soccer.
That's a. Just frame that on the wall.
Stat and a half right there.
Topical for the Whitecaps. Opening question this week's gentlemen, and just before we go into the opening question, competition for places. Something the Caps need, something we're going to have too. We're going to elect a best opening question answer starting this week. So, if you could pick an MLS player or players to fulfill a role in a movie, past or current, which player, which movie, and which role would it be, Gideon?
I said Ignacio Piatti as Watson from Sherlock Holmes because he seems to always be in the shadows and never gets enough credit for what he does.
Okay, solid. Not Waston, whose family misspelled his name way back. That came out this week, didn't it? That's why he's called Waston.
Yeah.
Nick?
I'm gonna go with Camilo as the Dark Lord from Harry Potter.
He is called He Who Shall Not Be Named, isn't he? Like in some circles.
In some
Yeah.
circles,
Yeah.
yes.
I went for a list of players. So the Avengers movies have been quite popular. I haven't seen the last 2, I think, but I think Hawkeye, the guy with the bow and arrow, it's Juarez. He's sneaky, tries to get away with things. Not that Juarez got away with anything.
all right.
Captain America, Michael Bradley. That's pretty self-explanatory. Iron Man, Zlatan. Like, you can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Not on Saturday.
True. Hulk is Roman Torres because he's a beast, and Thor is Soderbergh, the only Swedish person I could think of apart from Zlatan who's in the MLS.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you guys think? Just don't be mistaken. It will be my call at the end of the day, but please, what's your input for who had the best answer?
I like Joe's.
You're appeasing me.
I think, you just did a whole team of people.
I know.
Yeah.
You just made a Marvel Cinematic Universe for
All right.
MLS.
Well,
They're just gonna pump.
I've
out
clinched a
movies and-
playoff spot. Then the MLS is basically a franchise anyway. Okay, before we move forward with the rest of our show, in this following podcast, there will be no mentions of the following 2 phrases: the number 6 or the location Kansas City. If you do need to say the team that plays in Kansas City, you will say the Wizards, and you will be roundly booed if you accidentally cross this line.
All right.
Okay. Fair enough.
Okay, so now we go to complete the sentences. Nothing really happened last week, right, guys? Like, there wasn't a game.
No.
Nothing. So,
There was no game.
Nick, complete this sentence. On Saturday, I blank.
On Saturday, I did a lot. I went out. I taught a class, went to church, got prepped for a hike. It was a pretty good day.
Okay, Gideon, on Saturday
On Saturday, I cleaned.
Okay. On Saturday, I recovered from my exams. It was just a hard week of exams for me. Number 2, the best meal I had this weekend was, Gideon, what was the best meal? Ribs. Ribs?
Solid ribs.
I made cauliflower shepherd's pie. So instead of mashed potato, you have mashed cauliflower. It was very Vancouver.
Okay. My wife made fried rice and it was unbelievable.
This is turning into the AFTN personal podcast.
Yeah.
/ cooking show.
Yeah.
Cooking show.
The best series on Netflix is...
And series of unfortunate events right now.
Okay, Nick?
Right now I'm watching Wild Wild Country. Pretty
Okay.
good doc.
The Office is a classic for me.
So good.
So that sums up the Caps game against Kansas. Or the Wizards, sorry. Don't oh, sorry. Okay. Now we move forward to the preview section. So this Friday, thank God, there's another chance for us to get disappointed. The Caps are playing RSL, Real Salt Lake. It's a home game for the Whitecaps. This is the first time we've played a team for the second time this season. So we will look back on that first game a little bit, which was also quite frustrating if I remember correctly. But we'll get there. RSL, they're 3-3-1. They have a -5 goal difference, which is not great. Not that the Caps have okay goal difference either. But they have no away wins yet.
Yeah, that's big. I think that hopefully the Caps can capitalize on that and find some way to make a breakthrough.
Gideon, they've improved a bit since the Caps played them last time, correct?
Yeah, and especially that game of the weekend, I think you can't really read the no away wins yet too much into that. I will read into the goal differential, the -5, given their record of 3-3-1. That's pretty substantial for a team like RSL.
Mike Peckett doesn't seem to have completely, in my mind, he's just not settled there. The team seems to have, they had that whole offseason, their personnel situation wasn't great. They didn't start the season very well. They're kind of turning it up a little bit, but it's not the same as the RSL of old, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's only 2 players really. There's Beckerman and Raimondo.
Yeah,
and they're still chugging along, but it's a completely different system from that.
I guess I'm just curious: would RSL fans be okay with their current trajectory of not really going up or down?
I think so. It's a transition phase for them.
Yeah.
And if you still have 2 players from your MLS Cup and Championship in 2009, I think they're happy with that, and they're doing pretty well given the team they have right now.
Yeah,
they're building. I mean, they're building for the future. I mean, look at who they have in their back line, and they're giving a lot of young players a chance. We kind of hashed that out last time.
Yeah, and Joao Plata is still knocking them in. They beat the Caps 2-1 a few weeks ago. It sounds closer than it actually was, though. It was pretty comfortable for RSL. I thought the Caps should have won because of the amount of offense they generated. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's what I had written down, too.
Yeah, I think they got a little bit... I mean, the Whitecaps are a team where they need to take the chances that they've generated. And at the beginning of the year, they were doing a really good job of that. Recently, not so much. And if you're only generating a couple shots on goal, if you're not knocking them in, so will go your form.
Yeah. RSL's last game was a 3-0 win against Colorado, but they got a big helping hand by a Tim Howard red card in the 20th minute.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a whole discussion to be had if it really was a red card or not. I thought it was a little bit harsh. I don't think it was as definitive as that you can give a straight red card. But 3-0 was playing against 10 men, pretty good. It's a pretty good game to have, right?
Yeah, they did what they needed to do. And if you're playing against a team that has less people on the field, you should win.
Mm-hmm. It did take them almost 50 minutes to score their first goal.
Yeah, and they got the second, then they only got the third in the 94th minute, I think it was, the Rosnak free kick, and that was
sweet.
Free kick.
Yeah.
That was very sweet.
And it was Plata and Krelach. They were the other scorers. Plata got the first one. RSL, they set up in a 4-3-3. Caps have had bad recent experiences against 4-3-3, but we'll get to that a little bit later. The game before that game, the 3-0 win against Colorado, though, they lost to New York City FC 4-0. Granted, NYCFC are one of the form teams, or were at the time.
But I feel like NYCFC is going to be one of the teams that are challenging for the top of the East this year. So, I mean, agree. It's an interconference game, too. So, it's not worth as much, per se.
There was a whole discussion on the AFTN soccer show on Sunday night about how Toronto playing those weekend lineups are giving points to our Western rivals that we'll be competing with because they're playing like B teams. So Colorado won.
Yeah.
Houston won, and so
So those are people that we're probably going to be, jockeying for place with, hopefully, later in the season.
To be fair, after Scotiabank CONCACAF Champions League is over, TFC will more than likely climb up to the top some way.
But they're like 14 points behind or something. It's they're bottom of the
all
East.
The way to the top.
They're
go
bottom
top
of the East.
5.
Yeah.
All they need to do is get into the playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
that's
let's be
true.
honest. Like, if you can get into the playoffs, then you can worry about
They've done the
MLS
whole
Cup.
regular season history thing.
Yeah, exactly.
RSL play a 4-3-3, just like the Wizards.
Hold on.
What differences do you see in the style of those two teams, Gideon?
I think the Wizards, they have 3 midfielders who like to float around, and they don't really have a specific position for each of them, whereas you look at RSL, and you have a Beckerman that likes to play holding, covers the center backs. RSL, arguably not the greatest pairing in the world, so that's why Beckerman likes to sit back, and then they have Mulholland and Queiroz, who's played well this year for his position, that like to float around, so they usually have one staying back and 2 floating, whereas the Wizards have 3 floating around and not really one each have his own position.
Thanks for committing to the Wizards.
Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Yeah, the Wiz are the Wiz.
It's like cheese whiz, they're better.
Yeah, no, I think because they like to do a lot of that interchange, they like a lot of short passing, they have a lot of good technical players, whereas I think RSL they like to get more into space, at least this iteration of RSL. They will play more, long balls, they'll play more...
In my mind, I was going to say they seem a bit more direct than what the Wizards would have been.
They love getting it out on the wing.
But the last game against the Caps, it just felt like we lost out to individual skill. Like when we lost to RSL, like it was Savarino and Silva who scored. I think, like they were better than the defenders marking them, right? But we'll get to how the Caps should counter that later. João Plata, he's having an Indian summer in his career. He's 3 goals in 4 games. He's their top goal scorer right now. And Rusnak is leading their team in assists as well. So,
well, I can see why.
Yeah,
like those two are probably one of the more underrated, better attacking trios in MLS. They're quiet. They get it done fairly easily, and they're really good together.
Last season, the 3-5-2 was the most popular thing tactically. It was like a fad. This year, is there a switch to the 4-3-3 in the MLS?
I don't know. I think the 4-3-3 has always been popular in recent years. I don't think it's been it's never been maybe as popular as the 4-2-3-1.
Yeah. I know RSL have always played 4-3-3, I think. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I mean, it depends how far back you want to go.
Yeah. Back before they existed, they didn't play any formation. But yeah, like the 4-2-3-1 is definitely very prominent in the MLS, especially, for Vancouver in the past, at least. But like 4-3-3, it just seems, maybe it's just a coincidence that we're coming up against 2 teams that play 4-3-3 in a week.
But they play it I think they play it very differently.
They do. They definitely
I think
completely.
Sporting is more possession. They're more patient. They push their fullbacks up a little bit higher, and they'll look to work it around.
Yeah.
And I think RSL, they would rather hit you on the counter, look for space in behind you.
They do have very fast forward players.
Yeah.
In the last game, though, that RSL played against Vancouver, which they won, they played a 4-2-3-1. Maybe because it was at home or something like that, but it clearly worked for them, right? Mm-hmm. I personally think they'll go for a 4-3-3 away from home, especially because of the success they had with it last game. On the defensive side, we've waxed lyrical a little bit about their attackers. On the defensive side, we did talk about that at length in the last preview podcast, but just who is their main person that we're going to have to, knock down in order to get at their goal consistently?
Brooks Lennon has been fantastic recently.
Mm-hmm.
I think his form is great, and he is one of their outside backs. And Whitecaps like to use the wing to generate chances, so if we're going to go through him, whoever it is, that sets up on that side.
On the left side for the Whitecaps?
Is going to have to try to have just one moment of brilliance.
Yeah.
Just get past him, and hopefully we can put away that chance.
Yeah.
But I think he's been pretty sound defensively, and he's been very sound as well going forward. So I that would be to my standout. And he's what? He's 21 or something?
Yeah, he's quite young.
Yeah.
Gideon, who's your defensive player to be afraid of?
I think David Horst. We don't have Kai Kamar for this. Well, Robo hasn't said that Kamar's not going to play, but he probably won't start. So I'm thinking that Blondell would like to take. I like Blondell to take the ball at his feet and run at Horst because he's a little bit faster than David Horst. And again, both are pretty much height wise evenly matched. So I think Blondell might be able to get around him easily, or a little bit easier, as Horst is a little bit slower.
For me, it's Justin Glad. When he's on the ball, he's so comfortable on the ball. And in a league where so many, like a lot of chances are generated from mistakes that a team makes, he's such a safe pair of hands. Yeah, and especially if they enjoy a little bit of possession, like he can come into the midfield and mess everything up for the Cats.
It's all about, they're a team that plays on the counter. And if you can have a defender who's comfortable on the ball, and he's not going to rush the counter attack. Yeah. And sometimes I think that can be a Caps problem is we try to rush the counter attack. Maybe as soon as we win the ball.
Yeah. Or just come back to bite us this year and in years past as well.
Mm-hmm. Justin Glad has an 80% pass accuracy as a defender.
That's phenomenal
for a team that plays.
He was a draft pick. Yeah,
and for a team that is slightly more direct as well. Yeah, and 0.3 key passes a game. That's quite impressive.
To be fair, he is beside an experienced head, which has helped him a lot. But again, he hasn't had the same defense every year, and I think it's helped. It's been good for him.
Wasn't last game? Was it who was it that was playing?
Glad was playing. It was a Bessler.
Bessler's brother.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Yeah, it's his brother.
Oh, that would make a good Do You Know Who I Am someday.
Maybe I can get that one.
Yeah. Speaking of that part of our show, it is now time for Do You Know Who I Am? Okay, gentlemen, do you know who I am? 4-3-1. So 4 to Nick. Break the curse.
It's a very form-based game.
Yeah. So it's 4 It's 4 to Nick, 3 to Gideon, and 1 own goal by you guys.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we played Do You Know Who I Am on the Sunday show as well, and I didn't win. So
you know the pressure now.
Yeah,
yes.
You know the.
It was actually Joao Plata who was the player,
and
I
guessed it.
Zach got it with a bonus clue.
Ooh.
Zachary Meisenheimer. Yeah.
Nice, Zach. Well done.
Yeah. No, Michael set it up in a very tricky way. That being said, I'm going to give you guys quite a straightforward one because I felt a little bit of compassion. I actually have 3 ready for you guys.
Only to me.
Okay.
Let the child win this time.
This will be quite straightforward, I think. Clue number 1. So remember to say stop.
Yes.
I was born on October 24th, 1989, in St. Louis, Missouri.
I got nothing.
If you know who it is by that, that's by that one clue. That's pretty. My first team were the Indiana Hoosiers.
Okay. No.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Okay.
What clue do you think we should get at this time?
Probably around 4.
Okay. All right.
I was drafted in 2011 by a Western Conference team.
Stop. Omar Salgado?
No.
Oh, he's from Texas. Every time.
I am a striker. Okay. I used to play for the Dynamo. All right.
Yeah, I'm going through strikers. I'd be like, who's this?
I now play for Seattle.
Stop?
Yeah.
Who's Brad Evans?
No.
Brandon.
Oh, no. I missed that.
He wishes he was a striker. Okay. I now have to make up more clues. I have 2 caps for the States, and I'm 6'2".
Stop. Who is Wilburn?
Yes, it is Wilburn.
Thank you very much. Should have said sound.
I know you got the points, Gideon, but I
Looks
think
like
we
a
could have
bear.
done better that way. So it's now 4-4.
Yeah,
So,
there we go.
you know, if it's tight to the end of the season, we're gonna have to up the stakes.
We might have a
little bit.
tiebreaker,
We
I
need to do
guess.
Yeah.
like a quadruple point round or something like that.
Or just do one show full of Do You Know Who
We
I
need to
Am?
do that. We are going to do that.
That would be a nightmare
That
for
would
you guys.
be terrible.
Yeah. Well, that was this week's Do You Know Who I Am?
Hi, I'm Carl Valentine. You're listening to the AFTN podcast.
Welcome back to episode 262 of the AFTN podcast. Gideon just had a victorious Do You Know Who I Am? Now we're going to look forward to how the Caps should set up. Having a nice rest last week because they didn't play a game. What formations should the Caps use to counter RSL?
I would say not 3 at the back.
Not 3 at the back? Okay.
I think, I think maybe the 4-1-4-1 would be good.
Okay. I'm going to go 4-2-3-1, I think.
Yeah, I think that's with the people we have available right now.
Yeah.
That's our best option.
Because if Kamara was fit, I'd be okay with 2 strikers. But, or well, not that the 4-1-4-1 has 2 strikers, but like we need to generate offense.
If you were to do 2 strikers, who would they be?
Kamara and Blundell. I think they're different enough that they can...
Really?
Yeah, because Blundell is more ball at the feet than he looks, right? When I saw him first, I thought, oh, that's target man. But I don't think he actually... Like, the through ball he played
Yeah, that was really
in
nice.
the game against the Wizards was amazing, right?
Yeah.
So I think... But 4-2-3-1, we can get enough attacking pieces onto the field, I think, to generate something.
Yeah.
But that... Our game plan is going to be kind of different than it usually is, right? No, let's not have long balls to Chera, for example. Like, if we can get Davies on the wing, he could be a great outlet, I think.
Yeah, I think playing Davies, the experiment of playing Davies as defense, although he can clearly do it, is a bad...
I agree with you, unless it's a... If he's a wing back and there's no one to help him out, then it's not good.
Yes.
But if he's a full back with a winger to help him out, I think he'll probably be okay.
But I think you're taking one of your most dangerous attacking threats.
That I agree with. That I
and
absolutely agree
you're
with.
putting it in defense.
I'm just talking functionality wise. He could definitely do it. But I
have no question about his functionality.
Yeah.
He can totally do
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But I have a question in terms of, well, where are our goals?
If he's our best
come
attacking player, why is he playing fullback?
If
Exactly.
we're scoring 5 goals a game, then I don't. And De Jong is injured, then there's no issue with
it's
that.
different when we, like, in the 75th minute when we put Breck Shea at fullback because he actually has instructions to play basically as a winger, right? It's a different kind of a thing. But as I've said many times on the show, and I know I use it as kind of a joke, but I think Davies really should be playing on the right, and I think Breck Shea should be playing on the left. Like, the 2 players who have stood out so much most this season are those 2 players. And it's the way our game plan is, or seems to be going, unless something drastic is going to change, is that we try and generate offense from the wings.
Yeah.
Because the middle of the field, it just isn't working right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, you're right. If you have your guys that are producing, getting goals, we need to have them on the field. And I think there's that whole argument of Shea always a road player, but he hasn't played terrible at home. It's just he hasn't really had great games, and there's been really no other production around him. Now he has Davies and he has Blundell that can get goals. I think he can very well start the game on Friday.
But Nick, do you think that there's a sense that you should just throw everything that's happened this season out the window and start from scratch, right?
Well, no, because we're still in a playoff spot right now.
The last
there's
2 games.
there's wide discussions that this is the worst
For
3-game period that the Caps have ever had in the MLS era.
For sure this is terrible. But hopefully the pendulum swings back, as it were. Right?
And I think this is the right game to have after those rough 3 games.
But imagine if they lose.
Yeah, but they haven't lost yet.
I know, but that's true. That's very true. We're supposed to be optimistic on this show as well.
Very.
I completely just stomped all over that. Do you think there's pressure from the fans to play 2 strikers if Kamara was fit?
If Kamara was fit, I
Sure.
think if we're not scoring, yes. But if Kamara's fit and Kamara's scoring goals and we're having no issues,
I mean, what about Hurtado as well?
Yeah.
He likes to run. He likes to run the channels. He's not a good hold up player, but he could at least stretch the back line in some way.
If Reyna's playing and Hurtado's playing, then
Reyna
I don't
won't
have
be
an issue
playing.
with that. No,
Yeah.
I'm saying in the future,
Oh, yeah.
if we were to do something like that, because
The thing with that is you're giving up an attacking midfielder to put Hurtado on. In theory, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think that's. I don't.
But if Blondell can continuously play
Yeah,
like those balls, like if that's more than just
Yeah.
that's true.
and then you have
He will
speed
need
on the wing.
and you have speed,
You'll need
yeah.
midfield runners to do that.
Which Felipe isn't really a get a through ball through the defense kind of player.
That's the other thing. Because of Reyna's suspension, Felipe will be able to play in the number 10 role like he should be playing, or like it's the position he is supposed to play.
Yes, more
So we can
natural.
get a couple of defensive midfielders onto the field and not crowbar him in there and have him trying to play a more defensive role. It's kind of similar to the Pogba situation where he just doesn't like to defend and he's an amazing attacking player, but in Manchester United he's asked to defend more than he wants to, right? I think this will actually be good for Felipe because he'll get to play in the number 10 position if we play a 4-2-3-1, right? Last game was pretty bad. If you guys had to give me a list of players that you think should be
List.
dropped, we don't know what's happening in the dressing room, but
If
just
you were
based
the
on
coach.
form, on form.
kind of based on form, I would actually drop Juarez after he comes back because he's supposed to be experienced. And how many cards has he gotten?
And how many close to
And
red
how many
cards?
close to red cards has he gotten? If
Yeah.
he's supposed to be the replacement for Bolaños, and he's like Bolaños he was calm, role playing.
Too calm.
Well, okay, fair enough.
No,
fair enough,
no, I
maybe.
get your point.
But like, if your elder statesman of the team, quote unquote, is losing their head and every kind of going in whenever there's a call, well, and making bad judgment calls. I mean, it wasn't the best setup for him to be in the wingback position there, but I think he needs to just play like he's played good soccer here, and I think
I think actually that brings to mind something, and it'll be interesting to hear your thoughts on this, Gideon. Felipe and Juarez, right? They both have a bit of bite to them, so to speak, right? You know, they don't duck out of challenges. They get involved after the whistle goes and things like that. But how come Felipe is endearing himself to the fans, and I feel exactly the same way about Juarez as Nick does, right? Why are they like diverging? You know, Felipe, they're not that they've performed super differently, right? But how come Felipe seems to be doing the right thing, but Juarez seems to be doing everything wrong?
I don't know. I think it's, the whole thing about MLS is a completely different league than Liga MX. And, Juarez has been, there's a whole argument of MLS is a different league and all that. But I just think, Juarez is playing with different players than he's used to playing with. He hasn't really played it with MLS rookies before, 17-year-olds. He's coming from a different background in Europe where maybe those tackles are just regular tackles and the game goes on.
That's a good point.
Again,
actually.
There's different refereeing standards and everything like that. And he's an experienced head. Yes, you guys are completely right. And I just think he hasn't really found his niche yet. He's been moved around. He's been playing with different players. And again, I feel it's really unfair to not play Franklin against the Wizards. I think he deserved to start. He's been signed to play as replacing Nowinski. And to put Juarez out there was not the right move, in my opinion.
Who should be dropped according to you?
I think Mon deserves a chance. I think just because
But is it Mon getting a chance or Aha getting dropped?
I think it'd be Mon given a chance.
Okay.
Aha.
'Cause I don't think Aha deserves to be dropped.
No, I mean,
but
I want Mon to start. I think, like Nick said, Juarez as well, and then Franklin. I think should have definitely started. I don't know if he'll play this game because Nowinski's quote unquote brought up to speed again. But I just
and rested.
rested.
The back line you mentioned, you would like to see Franklin in there.
Yes.
Do you think this is a game that you would want him to start?
I think since Nowinski's rested, no, but probably the next one or two away games, I think he should be thrown in there in some capacity.
Okay. The back line doesn't seem to be functioning 100%. Could be post Parker, everyone figuring it out. But it looked like Waston and Aha had a good thing going, right? Can you guys identify anything that is the problem?
I think it's because you're down to 9 guys in the field.
Yeah, no, I'm not just last game, but apart from our attacking troubles, we are still conceding goals, even though in like the last game against RSL is a prime example, right? Like we were on top, we were so in control of that game, but we let in 2 goals.
Yeah, I think maybe there has been, I get it, it's MLS. We technically have the most distance to travel as well out of all the teams in the MLS. So I can understand why there's rotation. But at the same time, maybe we just need to let a consistent group play and gel, I think.
Exactly. I think, and as to Nick's point, there's been so many different midfield, at least 5 midfielders that have started differently in front of Kawasa and Aha. How do you form chemistry with those players and know where they're going to be on the field when you haven't played with them that much?
That leads us nicely to the midfield. We mentioned Felipe. I mentioned Felipe. I would like to see him in that more advanced role. Any disagreement with that?
I could see him in there for
again,
sure.
Who else do we play?
That's the point,
Yeah,
right? With like, it just feels like we're trying to crowbar. We have good midfielders, but we're just trying to shove them all into 3 spots, right?
I feel like it'd be different with Much in the mix as well. I feel like he would be starting a little bit more.
And Gazal back, like
Yeah.
he's pretty much a certainty to start because
Yeah.
he's so calm on
Yeah.
the ball, right? In this game, though, what I would like to see is Tybert, Gazal, and
Yeah.
Felipe.
Yes,
I agree.
that's exactly
Yeah,
what
that's
I
a good one.
It doesn't hurt that 2 of our midfielders are suspended, so I think they're out of contention.
And I think Tybert, he can get it done defensively, and he's a good forward passer. He knows where the ball needs to be. He knows how to get there and move around.
I don't think he forward passes enough, to be honest.
No, and he doesn't, and that's
But
the thing.
you need a sideways, a shuttle, like a sideways passer.
You need to
right?
sometimes keep possession.
Yeah.
And he covers ground too.
Yeah.
He's pretty tireless.
With Blundell in the team, we can probably expect the Caps to be not as direct as usual.
Mm-hmm.
But when going forward, how, like, from a mechanics point of view, how would you like to see the team generating offense?
I would like to see them hold possession, have more possession than the other team for the first time in the last
Yeah.
3 games. I would want them to hold the ball and don't, like Nick said earlier in the show, don't speed to counterattack. Pick your chances. This is an RSL team that can get it done with speed with Platz and Rusnak. Pick your chances. Don't get outnumbered at the back. Go forward as a team. Don't go forward 1 or 2 players at a time.
I think as well with Blondell and in that pass at the 6th minute, we should have more runners from the midfield.
Yeah.
So if he can do that pass, and if he can do it at least I mean, it's sure. Okay, maybe I'm making way too much, but that was a great thing.
I argued it on the show the other day that it was the best pass we've seen all season from the Caps because it just split 2 banks of 4 like wide open.
Yeah, and
that raises another issue, Nick. Felipe isn't that kind of a runner.
Yeah, I mean, so who are you going to have to do that from?
It'll have to come from the wings, right? So
Yeah.
if Blundell comes deep to get the ball, the wingers should be cutting in. Yeah.
Davies and Shea.
That's the next thing. So it's a home game. I think Teixeira's going to start.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like Davies to start, but I would not be surprised if Davies was not dropped, but like
Rested.
taken out of the team.
I can see that.
And
comes in as a
have
sub.
Shea or Ibini, who's been okay. To be honest, this is
He's
like
been quiet, but that's not a bad thing because he has not played
Yeah,
that much.
yeah.
And he's been thrown into situations where the team is down.
Down. It's already done.
and the wing is no longer the Caps' biggest problem. So we're not talking about all the
And again, we've filled the holes that we need to. It's not like there's a big problem right now. It's just the team as a team needs to be.
Well,
better.
it's mechanical. We got to fix all the players into the right spots. Like the midfield
and have
is
them
probably
play
the
the
big.
right role.
Yeah, yeah,
And-
exactly. That's the big thing with Felipe. He's asked to be a box-to-box midfielder,
Yeah.
and he's not that
He's
kind
not
of a player.
naturally doing those.
We haven't had I don't think we've had like an actual player who has always been a box-to-box midfielder since Barry Robson or someone or Laba
Kofi.
maybe.
Laba.
Yeah,
Oh,
Kofi.
yeah.
Kofi's a good shout.
Yeah.
Actually, Laba's more like a deep.
Lava is a
then
destroyer. He
Kofi,
follows the ball.
Kofi would be the best.
Yeah.
I think Kofi was fantastic. I mean, in that role, he was quite good at it. I mean, for what you were paying for him, he was
for sure.
great at it.
Where's Kofi? He's in
He's
Greece.
in Norway.
Oh, Norway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we could pick him up in the summer. Maybe a little
maybe
loan deal.
Bring him back,
5-month loan deal.
I'm gonna write that down in my "Do you know who I am" notebook, just real quick.
He's in Norway.
There's a bunch of different players. I'm
Yeah.
right now.
So let's go through the lineups. Let's have a quick discussion on the goalie. Actually, while we're here, Marinovic still starting, or do you want to
Again,
bring
You know
Rowe?
what? As you said about Davies, Rowe. You mean
But
not that
this
Marinovic
is
deserves to be rested.
this is like so close to a must-win game for the Caps.
Yeah,
From a
and-
PR point of view, they
Yes.
really need to
Oh
win.
yeah, no, there's.
So
yeah,
I don't
about
think this
that.
is the game that you rotate the goalie.
Yeah, that's true.
No, and I think a lot of I think there were 2 errors in the last couple games that were clearly his fault.
Which one in the last game was it?
Not the last game, but in the last
Okay. Yeah.
slew of games, right?
Yeah.
There's been 2 errors really where it's been his fault, clearly. And I don't think you can really put the blame on him for what happened, in the Wiz.
Yeah, there was that discussion about Madranda's goal. Could he have done better? But I think it was moving so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
No.
So we all agree on Marinovic to start this game.
Yeah.
But Gideon, you could see Rowe.
Well, I don't know. It's like more of a who would you want to see / who could get in there. It's the same with Franklin and the Shea discussion.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't mind seeing him in there.
Yeah.
You would be surprised, but again, why change up what you have going for you?
And just bear in mind, this is what we want, and it's not what we actually think is going to happen.
Yeah. So I'd rather see.
Left back, De Jong had a nightmare, but so many players did have a nightmare.
Dion.
I mean, there's really not much. I mean, again, I think they were getting left out to dry.
Yeah, they were just so isolated. Centre back, I'm going to go Waston and Aha, but please disagree if you want to.
I think Waston and Aha will start.
Yeah, I like I said, I would like to see Mond start, so I think it might be Waston and Mond.
Okay. At right back, Gideon, you want Franklin?
No, I want Nerwinski.
You want Nerwinski? I want Nerwinski too, because he's the only
he's
one I know who
quite
can get
good.
some offense.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And he hasn't done anything wrong this season, to be honest. So, sorry, we should check formation. We're all going 4-2-3-1, or Nick, you were going for a 4-1-4-1.
I mean, I'll go on the 4-2-3.
I think it's just more attacking than the 4-1-4-1.
Yeah.
You know?
And I mean, it does also provide a better shield.
Better cover as well.
Well,
Yes.
That's a good point.
Because there's 3 attackers against 1 midfielder, technically.
Yeah.
If you were to
If their
single
shape
out.
is right.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
And the shape of the defensive midfielders last week was not. So, as long as that's addressed, I think it's fine. So, holding mids, I have Tybert and Gazelle.
I
yes,
agree.
correct.
Yeah, we're kind of short with the 2 suspensions. Attacking Felipe,
Yeah,
Yes.
I'd love to see that.
wide left.
Davies.
Okay, Nick.
I like. I wouldn't mind either Davies or Shea on the wings.
Yeah.
Again, they can interchange.
I would like Davies, but as well, I think Shea would be okay. On the right, I'm going to go Ibini. That's just my gut feeling. But I think Chichera is also in contention.
I was going to say, do we think David Norman Jr. will make the bench this game?
I think so.
Because Much is out.
Yeah,
Reyna
I agree.
and Flores are out. Mosquito is not going to come in as a defensive midfielder. Hopefully
Like
not.
from a non-football point of view, that would be a great
That'd be a
win
great
for
game.
the
Yeah,
for
exactly.
the club.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I know it's point scoring, but like you got to
like if you're up 3-0, I mean,
Yeah,
why
bring him
not
on.
give a run
Yeah. Okay. Up
Well,
front.
that actually, Mosquito as well.
That's true.
He could play in that AMC role.
But he's more
Second,
when you have to make sure your attacking midfielder drops in and defends, right?
Yeah,
And,
Mosquito, he pushes up quite a bit as well.
Well, like he could have an
but
amazing week in training and
Yeah.
make the team, you know.
But do we want that? Because, or I guess it depends on how deep Rusnak is going to be.
Yeah. But I think between Gazal and Tybert,
I think that would be that's a solid shield
yeah.
for a back four.
Yeah. Up front, it's Blundell, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, now we're going to go to our final section of the show. It is our prediction game. Last week was almost as bad as the Caps' performance in Kansas.
I think you were the only one.
I think I'm the only one who got... Actually, we have to discuss...
Yeah.
Wait, there's one we have to double check, but I think...
Right.
So, Nick said that there would be 2 goals for Kansas. We wish there was 2 goals for Kansas.
I mean, you got the goals part right.
There would be 15...
Wizards, too.
The Wizards,
The Wizards.
sorry.
Boo.
Boo. There would be 15 tackles for the Caps. There was not. I only did binary answers because I didn't have time to write them down. 14 dribbles for Kansas. That was not the case. Zuzi assist for Gideon. Miraculously, that didn't happen.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shocking.
Wow. That's surprising.
And sorry, that's my prediction. Zuzi assist. 1 red card. No, there was 2 red cards. But there was, ladies and gentlemen, a VAR incident.
There was.
Yeah,
The box.
the magic box.
magic box
I was
Touch
so
to the air, the magic box.
I was so relieved when I saw that coming in. Gideon, this was your one. 3 Davies dribbles. I think there was only 1. The Caps would have 78 passing accuracy. No.
Oh my gosh, what was it?
They have like 5.
I think it was like 50 or something. I
Okay.
can't remember.
Yeah.
And I can't remember, was there a set piece goal? They all kind of blurred into one.
I think there was like a second wave of a set piece goal.
But that's
I
not
don't-
a set piece
But that's
goal.
not a set piece
The
goal.
penalty was missed too, right? So
Yes,
I
the
don't think
penalty
there
was
was.
saved. Yeah.
I don't think there was a set piece goal.
No, there wasn't. No,
Okay.
Yeah.
So the
Credit-
season standings are: I'm on 8 points. Nick's on 4, and Gideon's on 5. So it should be So it's me,
Yes,
Gideon, and
yeah.
Nick. And I'm pulling away, and I'll have the title wrapped up by September.
Okay, man. Okay, Man City. All right.
Oh, there was our bonus.
How many touches?
Yeah. And I'm going to have to look them up as I do this. Robbo would touch the ball how many times? I was so devastated I didn't actually count. We'll make that prediction again for this week, and we'll end up we'll do this same prediction because I was just so devastated I didn't end up counting. And we all predicted what minute the first sub would be. So Gideon said the 56th minute. I said the 52nd minute, and Nick said the 31st minute.
No, Jack, come on! The one damn game.
Yeah. But wait, the first sub was at half time.
Oh man.
So
Yeah, that's a good question.
the first sub was at half
So
time.
it would be you.
I was the
I think it
closest.
was you.
Yes,
That minute's
I got
over
that
now.
one. So I'm on 9 points.
This is unfair.
This it should be highest.
He's breaking financial fair play.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Let's go upstairs to VAR.
I'm backed by a Sikh who's funding my analysis. Let's get your predictions for this week, Nick.
Okay. I think RSL will have 20 tackles in the game.
Wow.
Okay.
Beckerman with 19 of them.
Yeah. I think the Whitecaps will have 11 shots total
Oh, wow.
on target and not on target.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think Nerwinski will have 2 fouls. in the game.
Okay. Gideon?
I think Blondell will break duck and score a goal. A good physical matchup in this one. Felipe will have no crosses in the match.
Felipe will have no crosses.
No crosses.
But what if he takes a corner?
That's a corner.
That's a
set
corner.
piece.
That's a set
But that's a
piece.
cross.
Like,
Come
Okay,
on, man.
whatever
It's exactly-
whoscored.com says, that's what I'll go with.
Okay,
So
alright.
no crosses,
and
okay.
Kyle Beckerman will receive a yellow as he normally does.
Okay. Just a clarification. Is it Blundell will score or Blundell will score a goal? One goal or will score
We'll
any?
score.
Okay,
Just
we'll score.
Just
Okay.
one.
And
At least.
sorry,
Well,
Beckerman
score
yellow
at
card was
least
the other
one.
one.
Yes, at least one.
Okay,
Maybe more.
for myself, it is
Hopefully 6.
one VAR incident.
Oh,
I know. One Waston yellow card.
Kick the horse while it's down.
Yeah. And one Joao Plata goal.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. I know we've gone away from the percentage things because those are really hard.
Yeah, they
Those
are.
are really hard to get. Okay, very good. That was our prediction, the last part of our show. We will update as the season goes on, and there will be a trophy at the end of the year. Just kidding.
No, we should make a trophy.
AFTN preview podcast
Podcast.
prediction. That's a
Yeah, that's one that you want to put on
Yeah.
your wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, it would look
family
good here.
centerpiece.
It would look good here in the AFTN studios.
you can put
aka
it on your
Joe's
table.
house.
Joe's house.
All right. Just before we leave, let's let everyone know where you can be found.
At _ Gideon Hill on Twitter.
At Space Age Robot 56.
And I am at Joe DC Van. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions, any feedback, any comments, please tweet them, or I think AFTN has an email as well, but I'm not sure if Michael
I think
has
it's
it yet.
AFTN Canada at
Hotmail.com.
Hotmail.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the articles on AFTN as well. I write sometimes, Nick writes sometimes as well. And TSS Rovers is coming up, and we might do a preview show for their season as well. Let us know if you'd be interested in that. Thank you very much for listening, and enjoy the game.
One day I shall come back. Yes, I shall come back. Until then, there must be no regrets, no tears, no anxieties. Just go forward in all your beliefs and prove to me that I am not mistaken in mine.